using rotoscoping, you're going to first want to import video into Photoshop and then trace it. So we're going to, with Photoshop open, I don't need to start a new document. I'm just going to go to File, Import Video Frames to Layers. And then I'm going to locate the video that I want to use. Click on Open, and I'm going to get a dialog box window that has my video in it. I want to have Make Frame Animation checked, and then I'm going to scroll through the video to find what I want to use for my start and stop of my loop. So I can use the playhead here to scroll to a specific point, and then these are my in and out points. So in order to crop the beginning end of the video, I'm going to decide where my in point is. So here I'm looking at where the thumb is and where the finger is, and then I can also use the in and out points as a playhead. So then I'm going to move through the video loop until I get to approximately the same point as I had before. So I'm looking to that place where the two thumbs are in similar position to where it started. So here's my in and out point. Now I can use the playhead to sort of scrub over approximately where the end point is and look at the beginning of the loop, and then scrub over approximately where the end of my selection is to see if it's similar. The next thing you're going to do is use the limit every. This is how many frames it's going to skip. So if we don't use this, you'll usually see that your video will come in with too many layers for you to be able to trace an animation. So I'm going to see how many layers I have, I'm going to go to Windows, Workspace, and choose Motion. And then over here in the Layers palette, I can scroll up, I can see I have 54, which is too many. You may have even more than that. You want between 20 and 40, just not less than 20, and then after that it depends on how detailed you want the animation to be. So if I click on the timeline and I press play, I can view how the animation is playing. It may be playing slower than it is how I filmed it, so what I can do is select the first frame, scroll over all the way to the end, hold down Shift, select the last frame, and then click on any one of these times down here at the bottom. This is the number of fractions of a second, and I can try it on no delay. So since this is too many frames, I'm going to go back to File, Import, Video Frames to Layers. This time I'm going to try limit to every 2 frames. You'll probably want to start with 4 frames, and then if that is too many, try 5 or 6. If it then comes under 20, then you'll reduce the number here. So the higher the number, the more frames it will skip. The lower the number, the more it will be faithful to the original video. So in this variation, if I scroll up, I've got 24 frames, which is good. Now the next thing is I have a few too many windows open here, so I want to be in the Motion workspace, but I don't want to have all of these windows open. So I can simply uncheck the ones that I'm not using, and now I'll have a lot more space for my layers timeline. The next thing I want to do is check my resolution. So I'm going to go to Image Size, and just check that this is coming in as 1920 by 1080. If it's not, you can simply type it in, 1920. As long as this link is connected, then when you change it, the height will change with it. Next I want to change the opacity to the still images on my layers palette, but to all of the layers. So in order to do all of them at once, I'm going to need to turn the visibility on, which means I'm going to need to make the eyeball visible next to all of them. So I'm going to go to the first layer at the bottom that doesn't have an eye, click and hold on it, and then while I'm holding, I'm going to scroll up, or I can even scroll back and forth until I get all the way to the top. Then I'm going to go back down to the bottom and select the bottom layer, scroll up if needed, hold down Shift and select the top layer so that now all of them have a highlight on them. Then I'm going to be able to select the opacity and I can dim that down. In this case, I'm going to type in 60. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to lock all of the layers so that I don't accidentally draw on those layers. And then finally, I'm going to click, hold, and drag over, remove the visibility or the eyes from all but the bottom layer. And then I will select the bottom layer, which will prepare me for putting my first drawing layer, which when I have that selected, I'm then going to select Create New Layer. Before I begin drawing, I want to locate where my Brushes tool and my Eraser tool are on the toolbar. If I type in B, it will take me to Brushes. If I type in E, it will take me to Eraser. If you don't see the brush that looks like the correct brush right away, hold down on that tool and you can see that there are similar tools located underneath. So it's possible that you've gotten into a different brush and you need to go back to the correct one. Same with eraser, there's the basic eraser and there are some other options. We want to stick with the basic eraser. You have a couple places where you can choose brush size. One is once you have the brush or eraser selected, up here at the top you click on this little icon and I can increase or decrease the size and I can increase or decrease the hardness. A low hardness gets me an effect that's similar to an airbrush with a fuzzy edge. Let me increase the size of that so you can really see it. So if I want to have a crisp brush, then I'm going to put the hardness much higher. And then when I draw, I can still have the option to change the size of the brush or the opacity, but I'll have a hard edge.